If Ukraine has to be supported so that it does resist, the Ukrainians have to know that the West is prepared to help them resist. And there's no reason to be secretive about it. It would be much better to be open about it and to say to the Ukrainians and to those who may threaten Ukraine that if you resist, if you Ukrainians resist, you will have weapons, and will provide some of those weapons in advance of the very act of invasion. Because in the absence of that, the temptation to invade and to preempt may become overwhelming. But what kind of weapons is important? And in my view, these should be weapons designed particularly to permit the Ukrainians to engage in effective urban warfare of resistance. There's no point trying to arm the Ukrainians who take on the Russian army in the open field. Thousands of tanks, modern army, well organized for some purposes, overwhelming force. But there is a history to be learned from urban resistance in World War II and most recently in Grozny, Chechnya, which resisted for 3 months in house-to-house fighting. And there are some moving examples from World War II, which I do not need to reiterate. The point is, if the effort to invade was to be successful politically, it would have to incorporate taking the major cities. If the major cities, say Kharkiv, say Kiev, were to resist and street fighting became a necessity, it would be prolonged and costly. And the fact of the matter is, and this is where the timing of this whole crisis is important, Russia is not yet ready to undertake that kind of an effort. It will be too costly in blood, paralyzingly costly in finances. And it would take a long time and create more and more international pressure. So I feel that we should make it clear to the Ukrainians that if you are determined to resist, as they say they are, and seemingly they are trying to do so, though not very effectively, we will provide them with anti-tank weapons, handheld anti-tank weapons, handheld rockets, weapons capable for use in urban short-range fighting. This is not an arming of Ukraine for some invasion of Russia. You don't invade a country as large as Russia with defensive weaponry. But if you have defensive weaponry and you have access to it and you know it's arriving, you're more likely to resist. And hence that acts as a deterrence. And that in turn can permit then more effective operations to terminate some of the violence that is being sponsored on the borders between Ukraine and Russia. That, I think, would help in any case to contain the risk and the temptation to resolve this issue by force of arms. On the Russian side, in the context of a mood of great ecstasy over the Crimean success, which was quick and decisive and which encountered no resistance. The temptation to seek its repetition can be quite strong and appealing to a political leader who desperately needs a major success.